These are the top crazy things you should know about Squid Game before Season 3 is released. The dead player to 114, whom the pink soldier is dragging on the banner dedicated to Squid Game Season 3, is actually a player from one of the Squid Game seasons. In Season 2, player to 114 appears as an old man with an unknown name, portrayed by actor Kim Moon-soo. However, this player was eliminated during the red light green light game and didn't make it any further, so he can't be the one portrayed on the Season 3 banner. In Season 1, player to 114 was an adult man who managed to survive the red light green light game and was even released when all players voted to stop the game. Yet he was also one of the players who returned to Squid Game later and continued participating in the deadly games. He passed the Dalgona game but was killed during a special game inside the player's room. Despite the fact that this player to 114 looks more like the one on the banner, there is no sense to place him there and draw attention. So be sure to share in the comments if you've cracked the mystery of player to 114 on the banner and get ready for the next detail. Did you know that the player numbers in Squid Games actually had a hidden meaning? Player 067 number had a connection to the character's backstory. Her number 067 may reference North Korea's calling code, which hints at her origin. Player 199 also had a number which was quite significant as it could be linked to the 1999 Asian financial crisis that affected South Korea. The protagonist Gi-hoon, or player 456, who was the last player to join the game, had the most memorable number. His number symbolized his journey from rock bottom to victory. However, the main antagonist Il Nam, or player 001's number represented the first man, which he was as the game's creator. His number hinted his position in the Squid Game hierarchy all along. In interview, director Wang Dong-hyuk explained that he gave most players numbers with significant meanings. Player 456 meant end, which made him get put in the direst situations during the games. For some comedic relief, he gave number to 118 to player Sang-woo. According to him, the Korean pronunciation of the number is similar to a curse word, and that added some humor to the tension. Be sure to place your favorite player's number in comments. But besides hidden meaning, players' numbers keep hidden patterns. Among the 456 players, there were a few villains that made the game interesting. Player 101 was a memorable one. He exploited weaker players and stirred up violence at every chance he got. He also had a reputation of being the instigator of chaos in Season 1. His partner in crime and member of his gang, player 112, was just as manipulative. She used charm and flattery to get what she wanted from the other players. There was also player 111, another noteworthy antagonist and a doctor turned organ harvester for the guards. But aside being villains, these three characters had something else in common. Players 101 to 112 and 111 all had repeated digits as their first and last number, a pattern that hinted at their villainy all along. Even player 001, the game creator and biggest antagonist, had a similar pattern, just in a different order. Share in the comments what other players' numbers suit this pattern. But there is one villain who actually hides his real nature behind the regular number. From the very beginning, Sang-woo recognized the honeycomb game, the famous Dalgona challenge. Yet, he kept this information to himself, not just to gain an advantage, but because deep down, he knew he would eventually have to face Gi-hoon in the final game. He didn't want to carry the burden of killing his childhood friend with his own hands. During the red light green light game, Sang-woo kept watching Gi-hoon, silently hoping he would get eliminated early, sparing him from making a heartbreaking choice later. When it came to the marble game, Sang-woo paired up with Ollie instead of Gi-hoon, not just out of strategy, but to avoid a direct clash with Gi-hoon. His every move was shaped by fear, guilt, and the hope that fate would make the decision for him. This fear of Gi-hoon's influence on Sang-woo started in childhood when they used to play games together. Just take a look at this. At the beginning of Season 1, we see children playing Squid Game. This is a flashback to the past that shows how Gi-hoon and Sang-woo played Squid Game together during their childhood. Following the scene, we see how Gi-hoon takes the attacking role while Sang-woo appears as the protector, the same roles they will get again at the end of Season 1 before entering the real Squid Game field. As kids, Gi-hoon was very good at attacking, and the childhood scene ends with him winning the round and breaking through Sang-woo's defense. That is why before the real final Squid Game, Sang-woo felt pressure. He knew that Gi-hoon was always good at this game and always won during childhood. Additionally, in the opening scene, the attacking player nearly loses after being pushed out but makes a comeback. This mirrors Gi-hoon's move in the final game when Sang-woo almost pushes him out, but he regains his footing in the same way. But what could be a real shock for Squid Game fans is that the name of the show could have been completely different. Did you know that Squid Game had a different name before its release? In an interview, Netflix's vice president of content Min Young Kim shared that the show's title was supposed to be another. This was because the name is inspired by a real Korean childhood game called Ojingyo, which isn't widely known among younger audiences. Min Young even found out her niece had never heard of it. This made her push for the name of the show to be changed to Round 6, so it would resonate better with young and international viewers and highlight the 6 intense games played in the series. But director of the show Wang Dong-hyuk fought for the original title Squid Game, insisting it was unique and memorable. So the original name was never changed. Min Young later admitted she underestimated the curiosity that the name Squid Game would generate. However, there is one country that for unknown reasons changed the original name from Squid Game to Round 6, and that country is Brazil. Share in the comments, do you prefer Squid Game or Round 6 more? One way or another, Squid Game Season 3 is premiering at the end of June 2025, and in May, we expect to see the first trailer and teaser for the season. Watch other videos on the channel to stay updated on what to expect from Season 3, but for now, let's do a quick highlight. These are the main events of Squid Game Season 3 that will shock you. First, the coffin that appears in photos from Season 3 has player 390 inside, provided as the result of the game played by Gi-hoon as a hero when he wanted to stop the games in Season 2. Second, the pre-final game in the third season will be Human Chess. This exact game is drawn on the walls in the player's room. For this game, all players will split into 2 teams, where Gi-hoon will lead one team and the frontman will lead the other. The players will not die if they lose, but instead, they'll have to play a small game against each other that predicts their future. Third, Gi-hoon may become the new frontman. In one of the interviews with the actor, when asked the question, will Gi-hoon become a new frontman, the actor pressed both the yes and no buttons at the same time. Do you predict that Gi-hoon really becomes the frontman and instead of leading the game, he ends them? Leave your predictions about Season 3 in the comments and share which one is more likely to happen. The backstory of the frontman will play a big part in Season 3, but did you know that Squid Game Season 1 was actually In-ho's first year as the frontman? In-ho's first year as the frontman may have been in 2020 because that's the year Il-nam joined the games. This means he would need a loyal person from outside to run the game. Il-nam chose a previous winner whose ideologies aligned with his. Second, in Season 1, Junho noticed that his brother was missing because he hadn't paid his rent. Junho reacting to his brother's disappearance means that In-ho hadn't left in previous years. If In-ho had left at the same time each year, he would have paid his rent beforehand. That means his disappearance was out of his routine. Third, after In-ho became the frontman in 2020, he reformed the Squid Game to fit his ideology. He introduced the voting procedure for the first time. If this procedure had existed before, the police and Junho would have received many reports about the Squid Game. Was 2020 the first year for In-ho as the frontman? And what was the reason he decided to join the Squid Game? All these questions will be answered in Season 3, but for now, let's predict future in comments.